Also around the community today, the Gamma Kappa Lambda chapter of Alpha Phi Alpha Fraternity Incorporated honored 7 leaders for its 117th Founders Day. December 4th was the organization's founding day, and every year it's tradition to recognize the date with a mixture of a church service and an awards ceremony. Today's service included everything from prayer to songs from the choir and a speaker. The message was surrounded around the idea of friendship. In honor of Brother James Fullwood, who was an architect of the Omicron Theta chapter, awards were presented to 7 recipients who are dedicated to transforming the community.
This year, we are giving awards to members of our Black, Greek, and sororities and fraternity organizations, so members of Alpha Kappa Alpha, Kappa Alpha Psi, Omega Psi Phi, Phi Beta Sigma, Zeta Phi Beta, and Sigma Gamma Rho.
Earlier in the week, the organization donated items to Williston, and tomorrow they will recognize one of its members who has been in the organization for over 72 years.